Welcome to Biff's Mystery Theater. I have many tales to tell you. Ghost stories, murder stories, and tales that will make your bones chill. Join me, won't you? For Theater of the Mind, where you always have the best seat in the house. Now close your eyes and turn off the lights.
Log entry, the Ketch Scarlet Queen, Philip Carney, master. Position 20 degrees, 35 minutes north, 110 degrees, 40 minutes east. Sky fair, wind fresh. Remarks, departed Kwangchowan after involvement by foreign interests. Reason for involvement, Huntsman's Quarry and the dead Chinese.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, someone once said humor's the true democracy. That's why we in America can smile when we tell the stories of the legendary heroes who helped build our country's great industries and institutions. Even an industry like transcontinental transportation has its hero, Windwagon Smith, born on the prairie when transportation was just beginning. Of course, transportation then wasn't anything like it is today. There were no jet-propelled planes, no racing cars capable of going over 400 miles an hour, or trains that could cross the country in a little over 2 days. Most of the traveling in the early days was done by ox team, and if folks covered 15 miles a day, they were doing good. That's what Windwagon Smith wanted to change when he showed up with his prairie clipper. The clipper was a wagon without any kind of animals to pull it, but it had a sail sticking up from the middle of it. When the wind caught the sail, the clipper took off, and Windwagon Smith figured he could cover as much as 70 miles a day. At first, people laughed at him. But when he pointed out how the new country was spreading out and how big cities would be springing up and how people would need transportation for themselves and their goods, they began to figure that maybe the prairie clipper was a good idea at that. Windwagon invited the U.S. Secretary of War and the Secretary of the Navy to ride on the clipper's maiden voyage. But disaster struck. The clipper got out of control, the Secretary of War rolled out, and the Secretary of the Navy landed in a cactus patch. But Windwagon and his clipper kept going. No one ever saw the clipper again, and as transportation grew in America, people all over the country told of seeing Windwagon Smith. He was in the pilot house of the first steamboat to sail up the Yellowstone. He held the golden spike when the first transcontinental railroad was completed. And when the first transcontinental plane roared out of Kansas City, it was Windwagon Smith, the spirit of American transportation, who waved the pilot on his way. Yes, it is a democracy which lets us tell stories of our industries, institutions, and legendary heroes with a twinkle in our eyes and a chuckle in our throats. And as so long as we continue to laugh together as a people, we will live together as a nation. Thank you very much.
3 days after we'd reached Fort Bayard, port city for the tiny French settlement of Kwangchowan, we started to work under our new charter with Kang and the China traders. The first cargo consigned to us was native cloth, metalware, and a half-hold of rice, all bound for Berea in the markets of Saigon. We waited 2 days for the cargo to arrive and be put aboard, and our leisure hours, which were few and always after dark, Gallagher and I spent in a bar a few blocks up from the waterfront. It was named the Liverpool, owned and served by a crown subject named Danny, and it boasted passable liquor and a dwindling library of ancient British phonograph records. It was about 9 p.m., after a few of those leisure hours on the eve of our planned departure, that Gallagher and I swung down the dock toward the Queen, looking forward to comfortable bunks and the feel of deep water the next day. I missed seeing Gordon, who'd been on gangway watch when we left. As we went aboard, I was rehearsing some strong words to use and dressing him down. But his watchmate Kohler hove up from the shadows of the cabin. The look on his face put an end to any thoughts of discipline.
There's been trouble, Captain.
Where's Gordon?
In the forecastle. He's all right now, but somebody laid a club across his head.
Who was it?
What happened, Kohler?
I don't know. We heard 2 shots, and I ran back here and saw a guy jump off the ship. Gordon was lying here, and when I found out he was still kicking, I looked in your cabin. There's a dead guy in there. I didn't look any closer.
And so Mutual continues The Voyage of the Scarlet Queen, written by Gil Dowd and Bob Tallman, and starring Elliot Lewis. As every week, we sail a league farther on the Voyage of the Scarlet Queen.
I'd never seen the dead man before. He was Chinese. Gordon had let him come aboard because he'd identified himself as a clerk from the French firm whose cargo he had. He'd carried a small leather valise and said he had final papers for me to sign. The other man had arrived 15 minutes later, and Gordon was slugged before he could count 5. Gallagher and I frisked the body. Clutched in one hand was a German-made automatic, unfired. And the other was a note that named him Tai Fung Tan. That still left him a stranger, but the note in English was the kind that police anywhere like to ask questions about. It said, "Go at once to the American ship Scarlet Queen. It's the quickest available means of escape. Use your own judgment as to the price you'll pay for passage." And it was unsigned.
Captain!
I rolled it into a ball and put it into an inside pocket.
Captain, there's a police officer asking to board.
Yeah, that's all we need.
They usually go with murder, even in Fort Bayard. Okay, Kohler, let him come. I'm keeping that note out of sight, Red.
Okay, we don't know anything.
That's no lie, but maybe without that link, we can get clear of this mess in time to sail. Oh, here he is.
Monsieur, I represent the prefect of police.
I can see your uniform, and I don't think much of the way you protect the harbor.
Oh, it is truly him. Monsieur, I commend you. You are to be congratulated.
What do
Congratulations.
you mean, officer?
You see in this corpse the end of a long and fruitless trail, monsieur. This man was the most desirable criminal in Quachuan. You have done us a great service.
Yeah.
I can show my thanks now only by the speed in which I remove the unpleasant thing from your ship. 2 natives have come with me to carry away the corpse. Pardon. Senor. Monsieur, it is my pleasure to tell you that there is a reward which now rightfully is yours.
Yeah, well, I'll be satisfied just to get him off of here and never hear another thing about it.
Oh, you have done the great service.
Thank you.
I will not spare one word in my report to say my admiration for
That's
you.
very kind of you.
Bonsoir, monsieur.
Bonsoir. Gallagher and I looked at one another after they'd left with the body, shook our heads, finally shrugged and got ready to hit the sack. I pulled open the big drawer under my bunk to get dungarees and a jumper ready for our early morning sailing. Discovered that we still weren't clear of the Tai Fung Tan situation. His valise was in the drawer. It was lightly packed with personal gear for travel, a thick bundle of French currency, and at the bottom face down was the thing that made me decide, since we seemed to be so popular with the local law, that I'd take the whole thing down to headquarters. It was a large photograph of a white man with a black patch over his left eye. He was sprawled on the floor, his head and shoulders resting in a dark pool that flowed from a point in his throat where the hilt of a native knife protruded. 20 minutes later, Red and I walked into the office of the prefect of police. You in charge here tonight, and do you speak English?
Oui, monsieur. What is it you wish?
I'm Philip Carney, master of the ketch Scarlet Queen. One of your men took a body off my ship tonight. This valise belonged to him. We thought we'd better bring it down. Here.
Pardon, monsieur?
The Chinese criminal that was killed tonight.
You guys were looking for him. There was a reward posted for him.
S'il vous plaît, do not speak with such rapidity. Perhaps I do not comprehend.
Look, a Chinese, Tai Fung Tan. He was a criminal, a desirable criminal. Tonight he was shot on my ship. One of your officers got the body.
I look at today's report.
Yeah.
Robbery, fire, accident. You must make a mistake.
Mistake?
No one is killed tonight. I know of no criminal die from that.
Well, wake up. It happened a couple of hours ago. Your officer left with the body about 1 hour ago. Where would he take it?
We would bring it to this building, monsieur. This is perhaps a trick, no?
Yeah, maybe it is. Never mind, officer. The police. Put it in your lost and found. If the owner calls for it, don't bother to let me know. Come on, Red.
Oui, monsieur. Bonsoir, monsieur.
Bonsoir.
Hey, Skipper, what goes on with these stupid people? They got rocks in the head?
I don't know, mate. If they want to ignore murder, it's all right with me. Come on, let's shove off.
Right. After one more at the Liverpool.
Back again, mateys?
Don't stay away, Danny. That music that lured us back.
Yes, a bit of the Isles doesn't hurt now and again. The same?
Yeah, neat. With a dash of bitters to kill the taste.
Yes, I've seen better chaps than you succumb before Danny's mixing. Hey, mateys. May you have the luck of the Irish that's beyond you, rebellious souls that they be.
Here's to him, Danny.
Right, Danny.
Blimey, it's a toast that shouldn't be drunk.
Red and I looked at the bottoms of our empty glasses. I think we both realized the difference of taste at the same time. The bitters Danny had shaken in were more than bitters. They were the same knockout drops they serve in Memphis, Corpus Christi, or Seattle. I wondered why it had to be us in Fort Bayard, Kwangchoan. I found Danny swimming a few feet down the bar, looking at me strangely out of eyes that opened and closed slowly.
Blimey, it's a toast that shouldn't be drunk.
I tried to get a grip on Red's arm so we could get off our stools together. I got a hold of it. I couldn't move my legs. Gallagher was twins, gaping rubberly at me.
Skip, this drink, they've really slipped us one.
The room went into a 45-degree roll to starboard, stayed there for a second, and sailed away, leaving me buried in something that was gray and sick and made my head ache. Then it turned black, and I didn't feel anything. First thing I heard were the footsteps. Thought they were mine, climbing an endless stairway to no place. And I got them separated. I knew there was somebody else's. I must have stirred because they moved toward me and stopped. I looked at him bending over me. I decided I must still be unconscious. He had a black patch over his left eye. The rest of the face was pulpy and marked by dissipation, but I recognized him as the man in the photograph. A man sprawled on the floor with a knife in his throat.
Come on, Carney. Keep your eyes open. I waited long enough for you.
Seeing you that stopped me.
Come on. Get your wits about you.
Or was that a picture of your twin?
You do have the photograph. Good. Where is it, Carney?
Oh, wait a minute, will you?
Here, I'll help you up. You'll feel better moving around.
Yeah? The dope drink, what was that for?
I wanted to get you out of the way so I could search your ship for the photograph.
Search my ship, huh? Hope you had a good time.
I didn't get aboard. Your ship and the dock are crawling with police.
A couple of hours too late, aren't they? Look, you better get out of here before I feel any better than I do now. If you don't, you're going to look deader than you did in that picture.
Listen, Carney. I managed a plantation for a firm at Saigon. The richest plantation in French Indochina.
You should have stayed there.
A rival concern had been trying to force us out. They wrote my employer that I mistreated the natives, that they hated me, refused to work for me.
Skipper, what the devil's all this?
So try to get up and move around, Red. It helps.
Listen to me, Carney. Make their stories ring true, they drugged me and took that fake photograph. Show that I'd been murdered. So that one of their own men could take my place. Carney, I've got to have that photograph.
Yeah, you said that. You did a fair job, but you could have used more time. Your story stinks. Come on, Red. If you can make it, we'll leave.
I can make it all right.
Don't try to leave this room, Carney.
What? Look, the gun doesn't scare me either. You want the picture, don't you?
I won't stop at anything to get it.
Then you better not get trigger happy with me. I can't think of anyone else who knows where it is. I sail at dawn. Check with me then. Maybe we'll talk business.
I'll be watching you till then, Connie. Don't forget that.
You know, that might not have worked, Skipper. What did we do to rate this, and what is it?
Come on, Red. We're going to check his story on the police guarding the Queen. If it's true, we're going back to the Liverpool and start knocking some teeth down Danny's throat.
I guess Danny figured we'd be back to thank him for the drink he's got to stand in at the bar.
Yeah. Hey, you. Where's Danny?
Oh, Mr. Danny, he in Black Room.
That door straight back?
Oh, yes, Mr. Danny, he in there.
Come on, Red. Danny, what do you... Oh, it's you.
Bonsoir, monsieur. This time I do not represent the prefect of police.
The voice and the face were the same. But his costume this time was a neat white linen suit and a straw hat instead of a police uniform. And his effect was changed slightly by the French-made Star automatic pistol in his right hand.
You will answer for me a few questions.
I will, huh?
You were with Frederick Huntsman.
Huntsman?
Yes. Where is he now?
We don't know. We didn't even know his name, but whoever he was, we left him in his room.
Did you give the photograph to him?
Hardly. People get killed over that thing. I'll tell you the same thing I told him. We know where it is and nobody else does. That's the way it's going to stay, because with it out of sight, we don't think we'll get the belly full of slugs that Huntsman gave the Chinaman.
Your logic, it is good. But it is strange that you say that Huntsman killed him when it was really I who did.
Let's get it straight, huh?
Oh, but monsieur, why should Huntsman kill him when it was Huntsman who sent him to your ship to buy passage so he could take the photograph to Saigon?
I think you and Huntsman are talking about two different things. Why don't you get together and work it out?
That I intend to do. Monsieur, it is obvious that Huntsman's words to you were false.
It's no news to us.
Also, it is highly possible that we three are approaching a friendly understanding.
Yeah, with that gun looking at us, it's a cinch.
Oh, I am sorry, but it is my business to be suspicious. Monsieur, Frederick Huntsman is attempting to extort hundreds of thousands of francs from my company. I have been assigned the duty of stopping his plans.
Yeah, he's got a story about a company.
Oh, wait, monsieur. The employees of most of the big rubber plantations in this part of the world are insured by my company.
Oh?
Huntsman is. And he also has a large personal policy. The beneficiary of both is his wife.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think of that photograph? Proof of death, no? So that Huntsman and his wife could disappear a few 100,000 francs richer. Here, monsieur, my credentials and identification. Georges Dumier is my name.
Yeah. See, Red? Things finally make sense, even in Kwangchow.
Yeah, but a funny kind of sense for that poor Chinaman.
Poor Chinaman? Oh, pardon. Huntsman paid him well to go to Saigon with the story that he was an eyewitness to the murder. I had to shoot him. He drew his weapon on me to resist, as he thought, arrest. Oh, but, Captain, I apologize for the striking of your crewmen and the subterfuge of the police uniform to get the body so I could search it.
Oh, well, forget it, Dumier. I wish you a lot of luck. I hope you get him.
Oh, I think the possibilities are very good, since now I have you with which to bait the trap.
Now,
What
wait
are
a
you
minute.
talking
We've
about?
had enough of this, Dumier. We just want to get out of here. We're leaving at dawn.
I am thinking of you, monsieur. I am afraid that your failure to cooperate would be classed as obstructing the course of justice. A charge like that would, of course, delay your sailing, and we do not want that, do we, monsieur?
That's a tough one to answer.
You strike a quick, hot bargain, don't you? Okay. What do we do?
That is better. There is one place where Huntsman will follow you. That is to your ship. If you will allow that, I will arrive soon after he does. But right now, I will go and lead the police away from your ship.
Yeah, I'd like to know what they're doing around the Queen anyway.
Oh, they are only looking for one who struck one of their members behind the ear, took from him his uniform, and left him hiding so modestly in the shadows. C'est-à-dire, monsieur, they are looking for me.
really knew his business because by the time we reached the dock, it was clear of police. The rest of the plan went all right, too. I sent all watches below. Red and I went to my cabin. 10 minutes later, Huntsman walked aboard. He was carrying his gun, but he walked hopefully and innocently into our trap.
Captain, I want to talk to you.
That's when I made my mistake. Hello, Huntsman.
Wait a minute. What did you say? Where'd you learn my name?
From Danny.
That's a lie. He didn't know my name. Move over in front of the cabin door, both of you. I haven't come this far to be stopped by anyone who stumbled into me.
Stumbled into you? I don't remember looking you up.
Who knows I followed you here?
How the devil should I know? Maybe half the town, maybe more. Who'd you tell?
Wait. Listen. Who's that?
I don't know.
Who knows I'm here?
Nobody be sneaking up on you making that much noise.
Don't try to call.
Oh, Captain. Captain Carney. Is he in there with you?
Yeah.
Captain.
I better answer him.
Yeah. Tell him if he lets you and your chief officer take me out so I can get away, I won't kill either of you. Otherwise, I will.
Captain.
All right.
Captain, answer me.
Yeah, he's here. He says if you'll let us bring him out, he won't kill us.
It is no bargain. Captain, I cannot see him from any of the portholes. I will have to shoot him from the door.
Don't move, Carney.
Do you hear me, Captain? I am coming in to kill him now.
I warn you both, don't try anything.
Monsieur, I come now.
No, I warn you!
As Red and I hit the deck, Dumier walked jauntily into the cabin, his automatic flashing at his hip. His first shot found home, but he never stopped moving forward until he was a foot away from Huntsman. Watching his nerveless fingers drop the gun, his dying body melt to the deck.
My company will be very angry he is dead.
Is that all you can think about? That was the craziest play I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's liable to get dangerous sometime.
Oh, certainement. But when I looked aboard the first time quietly, I found everything bad. So I came aboard and scared him half to death with my kindness.
Yeah, well, you can have that approach, Dumier. It's not for me.
Oh, but he is dead. Too bad.
Yeah, what does happen when a guy is trying to defraud your insurance company and is killed by you, the investigator working on the case?
Oh, we have a suicide clause. There is no payment. I told Huntsman I was going to kill him, and he did not surrender. That certainly is a form of suicide. My company would be very angry if it were anything else.
By dawn that morning, Huntsman's body had been taken ashore, and we cleared the tiny harbor of Fort Bayard in the face of a fresh breeze sweeping out from the mainland. The hatches were covered in snug over our first cargo. We had a place to go, and the crewmen jumped to their stations to give us the sail that would take us there. The mainsail swept up into the gray morning sky. The jibs rolled out. Then the mizzen. And the Scarlet Queen leaned into her new job with a will that sent the spray flying from her bow.
Is she fair with the new weight in her, Skipper?
Handles it like it's nothing. This girl is made for cargo work.
Now, for all concerned, I hope she gets plenty of it. Where are we bound? Korea?
Yep. Not much of a port, but maybe we'll find something to do.
Oh, I was afraid you'd say that.
What's the matter, Red? Not enough excitement for you?
Oh, enough to keep me glad to be alive and sail in a ship like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's never taken us into any place that she hasn't taken us out of.
Just so that doesn't change. Here, Skipper. To the Queen.
To the Scarlet Queen. After you, mate. After you. Log entry. The Ketch Scarlet Queen. 5:30 p.m. Wind brisk. Sky overcast. Mainsail and mizzen reefed. Ship secure for night. Signed, Philip Carney, Master.
Voyage of the Scarlet Queen stars Elliot Lewis as Phil Carney with Ed Max as Gallagher. And tonight featured Rolf Sedan as Dumier, with Frank Gerstle as Huntsman and Ben Wright as Danny. Music scored and conducted by Richard Orant. The Scarlet Queen, produced by James Burton, is written by Gil Dowd and Bob Tallman. This program came to you from Hollywood.
Log entry, the catch Scarlet Queen, Philip Carney, Master. Position 10 degrees 20 minutes north, 107 degrees 45 minutes east. Sky fair, wind fresh. Remarks, departed Bahia after losing 2 passengers. Reason for loss, the Green Tourist and the Temple Bell. The port of Bahia swelters 10 degrees above the equator on the southern coast of the leg of land that holds French Indochina. An hour spent there is too long. But I've known unscheduled ships like the Scarlet Queen to lay there for months before a cargo materialized out of the dilapidated warehouses that fringe the muddy, unkempt harbor. But due to our connection with the China traders, we were there only 3 days before we started loading a cargo of supplies for our company's trading station in Port Moresby, New Guinea. And not 2 hours after the whine of our winches and the swing of our cargo booms started to tell the harbor that we'd be headed out soon, 2 Americans arrived to buy passage across the China Sea to British North Borneo.
Captain Carney?
Yeah.
My name is Matthias, Captain. Edmund Matthias.
Oh, yeah. China Trader's office told us to expect you, sir.
This is my son, Stanley.
Glad to know you, Stan. Thanks, Captain. Mighty happy to be aboard. They were easy people to know. By nightfall, when we were loaded and only waiting for the dawn tide to sail, we were sharing our laughs and hopes with them, and had learned that theirs was a journey of leisure after years in Nevada spent dreaming about the wonders and glory of the Orient. I was in my cabin that evening making a final check of my bills of lading, and my chief mate Gallagher had taken Stan and his father up into town for a final drink. I got to the end of my list and was halfway into a fresh jumper when I heard feet hit the gangway and then the deck. Gallagher, what's the matter?
It's a kid, Stan. He didn't show up.
Take it easy. Show up where?
He took a powder on the way up. Said he'd meet us at a bar at 8.
Yeah, what's 10 now?
We just got word that he was wandering into the native section on the waterfront all by himself. His old man's going nuts.
Where is the old man?
Waiting for us in the bar. We'd better get back up there, Skipper. Baria's no place for a green kid like Stan.
Yeah. Break out a couple of 45s, Red. We'll go look for him.
And so Mutual continues The Voyage of the Scarlet Queen, written by Gil Dowd and Bob Tallman, and starring Elliot Lewis. The Scarlet Queen, proudest ship to plow the seas, bound for uncharted adventure. Every week a complete entry in the log, and every week a league further in The Voyage of the Scarlet Queen.
There he is, Skipper. That side table.
Yeah. He looks like he's going to need some taking care of himself.
Captain Carney, thank heaven you've come.
Yeah, I'll be all right now, Mr.
Oh, there are so many things that could have happened. He isn't used to things like this back in Nevada. He wouldn't be gone this long if something went wrong.
Well, we'll find him, Mr. Matthias. The first thing you've got to do is stop your imagination.
I only wish it were imagination, but I know my son. He promised to meet us here over 2 hours ago, and he hasn't arrived yet. I know that nothing but an accident, or I know that nothing would detain Stan if he could help it. What shall I do, Captain? What shall I do?
Now, first try to calm down.
I'm sorry, but you must know how I feel.
Well, sure I do. Now, who told you that they'd seen Stan, and what kind of a line did they give you on it?
Oh, it was one of the natives that worked at the hotel.
Oh?
He said he'd seen Stan at the end of Vejraburi, the street where the native bars are, and the gambling dens, and I don't know what else. He said Stan joined the crowd of men gathered in front of the temple of the Apsareses. That was more than an hour before he was to meet us here.
What is this temple of the Apsareses, do you know?
Well, it belongs to a cult, I believe, rather than a recognized religion. Beyond that, I know nothing. Captain, if I've allowed anything to happen to my son, I don't know what I'd say. I don't know what I'd do.
Okay, Mr. Matthias. Take him back to the ship, Red.
No, Captain Carney. I can't sit there and do nothing.
With that calamity approach of yours, you aren't doing any good here.
But, Captain...
Never mind. You got the obituary all written. If he does have to be in trouble, it doesn't have to be any worse than being stiff from too big a load of native grog. Now, go on with Red and stay aboard. I'll see you later.
Well, I was thinking that I ought to stick with you, Skipper. Two's better than one.
I'm not going alone, Red. I'm going up to the China Trader's office and check with Lin Shen. He's been in Beria long enough to know every corner in it.
All righty, Hans. Oh, my visitor is you, Captain Carney.
I'm sorry to bother you at this time of night, Ling Chen.
One time is like the other. There's no bother.
One of my passengers is missing, the young one, Stanley Matthias. Went to Vejraburi Street.
Could be happy on that street, but since he is accidental, only briefly, I think.
Oh, well, I'm going down to look for him.
It would be my honor to go with you.
Oh, thanks, Ling. Oh, incidentally, he was seen by a native in front of the temple of the Apsareses.
Then, Captain, it is my misfortune to tell you that your concern is well-founded. It is a place of evil, asking the benevolent forgiveness of my ancestors. We will go there that you may see.
Vejraburi was an uncomfortable, jumbled street, lined by crowded buildings hiding their interiors behind shuttered windows and curtained doors. Mixed with the reek of its humanity was the stench of the harbor along which it stretched, and into which went its refuse, including some of the men who came there and were never seen again. It was an ugly street. So ugly that the beauty of the temple at the end of it was a shock. Orange flame flickered from two massive female statues. The temple of the Apsareses gave the immediate impression of evil and yet beauty. The columns that supported the roof were more massive female figures. The carvings on the heavy doors that guarded the unseen interior carried out the same theme. And before this door, a woman danced. Behind her stood three more, swaying slowly back and forth, one of them chanting, the other two adding the music of native instruments. Ling Chen and I stood for a while at the edge of a scattered crowd of silent, almost hypnotized native men. Then he pulled me back into the shadows.
You have been cursed, Captain, by viewing the temple of Apsareses. It is the renewal in the form of a cult of an ancient legend that is told in the stone carvings on the temples of Prahan.
What's behind it? What does it mean?
The legend tells that the Apsareses were creatures of great beauty, half human, half deity, who were sent by gods to lead astray those mortals whose lives were without sin, and so prevent overcrowding in heaven.
Huh? This audience tonight doesn't seem so saintly. Or aren't the creatures so particular these days?
I know only this. Many strangers to Beria have entered the temple and have not returned. But I have not before heard of an Occidental whose mind was ready to receive the message of the Apsareses. You wait here, Captain. I will find one of the watchers to speak with and perhaps learn more.
Lin Chen joined the entranced crowd. I was left alone, listening to the monotonous chant, watching the monotonous gyrations of the dancer. The atmosphere was something between a dream and actuality. It didn't make sense, but there I was, faced by the ceremony. For a moment, it didn't seem too strange that young Stan Matthias might have been caught and drawn into it. I didn't realize that Ling Chen was back until he tapped me on the shoulder.
Captain?
Oh, what'd you find out?
He entered the temple. I ache with sadness to tell you.
How about the French officials? Would they help?
They are most cautious. To them, sorcery as well as religion retains a dignity. They do not interfere.
Yeah.
Captain Carney, I fear that any warning I might give you would be heard only by your ears.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's right.
My mind is ready to receive the message of the Apsari Seas. Thanks for the warning anyway, Lane. It wasn't long, maybe 20 minutes after Ling Ti Chen left, that the chanting stopped. I moved up through the crowd to catch any cues that were thrown to the chosen, who were to be allowed entrance into the temple of Apsaresis. The first move was easy. A massive door swung open on an interior dimly lit by more flickering flame. I followed the 7 or 8 natives who moved forward in response to the appeals and gestures of the women. 2 of the natives were turned back after brief questioning that I didn't understand. When the hostesses saw me, I caught the quick glances that snapped between them. One of them stopped me just outside the door.
What you want?
I want to go in the temple.
You not belong here. You go.
I belong here, all right. I want to go in.
You belong Paria?
No.
What you want?
I want the other man like me. He came in before.
You no
I want to find him. I go in if I have to burn the temple down.
You not belong here. You want come, you come. You not belong here.
The look she gave me was entirely different from the sultry looks the natives were getting. The big doors swung shut as we entered the narrow hallway. It was bathed in an orange glow from the flames, permeated by incense smoke that swirled up from the fire urns. From the fascinated expressions of the men, there must have been great promise in the words from the woman who spoke. We followed them eagerly across the hallway. The door was open, and silently we obeyed their gestures and entered the room beyond. The door clicked shut, but the women stayed outside. I didn't know whether the others heard it or not, but I did. A bar slid quietly across the door, locking us in. This room, too, was lighted by a pair of fire urns, but the odor here was different. Still incense, but mixed with it a thickly sweet smell that tingled a little in the nostrils. Made itself felt deeper in the throat. It was so subtle that I hardly noticed what was happening. It was almost pleasant. So that when I did realize, I couldn't make myself care enough to fight it, or to worry about it, or to worry about Stan Matthias, or to even wish that I was someplace else. I lay down on the floor with my fellow dreamers, staring at the ceiling, smiling, breathing deeply until I couldn't see the ceiling anymore. And then I floated away. Floated away. Even the hangover from it wasn't bad until I remembered what I'd come for and became aware of what was going on in the room. There was no longer any feminine promise about it. 2 squat, powerful natives wearing razor-sharp creases in their sashes were in the room. They'd opened a trap door in the floor. Through it, I could hear water. They were herding the still weak natives through it and into a boat that waited below. When the last of them had been sent down, the trap slammed shut. The guards moved toward me.
You get up. You come.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Go. Door.
Where to? Where are we going?
You go. Princess Negor.
Who's Princess Negor?
She high priestess, his temple. She high Saras.
The high priestess, Princess Negor, made a beautiful picture surrounded by the mysticism, the color, the sense of the temple of the Apsaresis. She lounged languidly on a raised couch. Her costume was in the tradition of early Sita Barry. Her face was beautiful, her mouth stained scarlet, her eyebrows penciled darkly. There was only one thing wrong with the picture. She wasn't native. Her coloring was Aryan fair, and she smiled at the surprise I was showing.
The Princess Negor bids you welcome.
Thanks.
The mortal seems surprised at the appearance of the high priestess, direct descendant of Bakan himself.
I'm getting over it.
I'm glad. You must have something to talk about since you entered the temple with the rest of my slaves.
Yeah, that's right. Family Matthias. I came after him.
You won't get him. Captain Carney. He's my own special slave.
Maybe if you get down off that throne, we can talk sense, huh?
And he's deeply in love with me. You'll see that yourself.
What's the deal, Princess? You want money? You want me to pay ransom for him?
You insult me, Captain. My income is more than sufficient. I want him near me, and he's quite willing to remain.
This is a little thick after the rest of your act. I saw Stan at 6 this evening, and he was quite willing to be leaving this hole in the morning. Now, what do you want? Shall I make an offer?
I want nothing. This life is a lonely one. I saw standing on the streets one day. He's handsome and fair and young. I saw to it that I met him. He came to say goodbye tonight and tell me he was sailing with you. But he changed his mind. Now he's here. He will stay here.
And live this fake of yours? He's not crazy.
Call it fake if you like. Only you miss the fact that it's quite profitable. The 6 natives who came in with you will bring 40 francs apiece. My turnover each night is between 30 and 50. Huh. You look puzzled, Captain.
Yeah.
Labor in the interior, Captain. A ready market in the mines and the plantations and the gardens of the mandarins. Under the sedative you received, they all signed 3-year contracts.
I'll keep my mouth shut about what I think of that, Princess. All I want out of here is Stan. Prisons are tough on the equator. I don't think he'd do so well sharing that with you.
Captain, I don't want to argue with you. Why don't you talk to Stan?
Maybe you remember that's why I came.
I really don't know why I bother, except that I like to make righteous men like you swallow their words. I'll have him come in, but in case you have any rash ideas, please remember the guard.
I'll try to remember them, Princess. I'll try to. I was almost surprised to see him walk into the room, his husky body erect, his blonde hair neatly combed, his white suit unwrinkled. I don't know what I'd expected, marks of a struggle, I suppose. He crossed directly to her and stood in front of her.
Here's Captain Carney, Stan. He's come to take you away from me. Do you want to go?
He turned slowly from her and faced me. His eyes looked at me, but still through me. The rest of his expression was normal, a half smile on his friendly mouth, but there was nothing I knew in his eyes or behind them.
Do you want to go?
No. I'm staying.
Well, Captain?
Stan, your father's waiting on the ship. We're going to leave for North Borneo in the morning.
No.
Captain Carney doesn't believe that we mean so much to one another.
Megor has been lonely here. Now I've found her, and I know I've been lonely, too.
I've heard enough. He's not making sense.
Tell me, Captain, what is sense? He's left your world and entered mine, so you don't think it's sense. He'll be happier here than he's ever been before.
Yeah, how long does he live in that condition? But you're a new high, Princess. You're the filthiest hunk of humanity I've ever met.
Captain, don't anger me.
We'll talk that over later. Right now, you're going to help me get out of here.
God!
Get out of the way, Stan. No, don't touch her. I figured that if I had her in my arms as a shield, I could keep the blades of the guards away from you. But Stan, half crazed, half conscious, and still following her will, blocked me away from her. I tried to sidestep him just as the guards got to me. Sword hills hit the back of my head and staggered me forward. 2 pairs of arms took me, pushing forward on my elbows and back on my wrist. The pain streaked to my shoulders, and I stopped struggling.
I've warned the guards I want no blood here. But out of no kindness to you.
That's fine. I'd be ashamed to accept it.
You realize, of course, Captain, that since you bothered to come here, you're a great menace to me and my temple. I'd be a foolish priestess to allow you to escape.
Yeah, but you're close to the end. There'll be a whole crew coming if I don't get back.
I've arranged for a boat that will arrive for you soon. So bear in mind the next time you fall asleep in your aromatic little chamber, that the punishment for those that defile my temple is a watery one. And the offender, well-weighted.
You're still a new high, Princess.
And I still will be, when you're resting at the bottom of the harbor. Bungo! Hey!
Come. My only advantage over the last time the door closed on me was that at least I knew what was in the room with me, and I knew where it came from. As soon as the guards were out of hearing, I knocked the fire irons off of their pedestals. I stomped the charcoal embers that burned under the drug, holding a handkerchief over my nose. The smoke didn't lessen any. The activity increased my breathing. I tried to smother them with my sweat-soaked jumper. That didn't work either. But while I was near the floor, I learned that the fumes were heavy and stronger down there. I climbed up on the pedestals, groping in the darkness, staggering as the stuff took hold. I found fresher air up there and cleared my wandering mind with it. I tried the sloping ceiling for weakness. Found none. Filling my lungs, I went to the floor again. Groped for the trap door. It was solid and immovable. I found the heavy base of one of the urns, climbed back on the pedestals to hold out as long as I could. The clean air held for a while, but wondering when the strength of the fumes would climb to me made each breath I took an adventure. The relaxation set in. And my dreams were of a canted deck, swept by cool spray and clean, fresh air. And I shook my head to bring myself back, and shaking it, I wasn't sure whether the sound I heard was real or not. I gritted my teeth to stay with it and heard it again. A movement outside the door. I got to the floor by the time the bar rattled the first time. Staggered across the room by the time it slid free. Was waiting when the door opened and the first guard, a rag at his nose, walked slowly into the unexpected darkness. When he was in position, I crashed the heavy pedestal base down on his head. I grabbed him as he slumped. The other guard, blade held chest high, rushed. I lifted the body to take the thrust. I left him hanging there, stepped around him, and caught the other guard with my weapon before he could recover his stance. I barred the door on him. I went into the high priestess's chamber.
What is it? What's happening?
Come on, Stan. Snap out of it. Let's go.
No, you can't. He's going to stay. Where are my guards?
Come on, Stan.
He's going to take you away from me, Stan. Don't let him. Fight, Stan. Fight so you can stay with me.
Get away from her. Get away from her.
Fight.
Get away from her. I thought he'd be a pushover in the dream he was living, but I was wrong. I couldn't hurt him. He didn't land many, but those he did were solid with power. I dropped his head as a target and shot for his throat. He was like dead flesh. He didn't feel anything, and my own weakness was coming back to me. I put one into his solar plexus that rocked him. I put another one in, and another one. Finally. Then I looked at the princess. She was gone. I unlocked the door that I barred on the guards, then I went to the big fire urns in the entrance hall, tilted them so that the flames licked up the walls. Bent down, threw Stan over my shoulder, and left. I only stopped to look back once, down toward the other end of Bejraburi Street. Healthy flames were licking up through the roof of the temple of the Apsparaites, and excited crowds were running toward it. Then I went back to the ship.
Well, I hope we haven't delayed you too long, Captain. It's long after your planned dawn departure.
Oh, no. We got plenty of time, Mr. Matthias.
But I did want to see you. The doctor sent Stan up to a hospital in Saigon, and he was almost back to normal before he left. He says he hopes you understand, Captain.
If anybody does, I do. I got a whiff of that stuff myself.
He doesn't remember a minute of it.
No? Well, you tell him from me he's lucky. And that the French officials got his girl. She started life as plain Hortense Croft in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Quite a descent from that to High Priestess of Berea.
Yes, I'm
Yeah, I'm sorry, too, Mr. That it happened and that you can't make the crossing with it.
Captain, one is so limited in Berea, but I'd like you to have this.
Well, splashes. Sounds good. Thank you.
Of course, anything I'd say in thanks would be completely insufficient. But, Captain, if you ever get to Nevada, we'll try in some way to repay you.
Wow, thanks.
I'm in mining, just outside Ely. And if you ever get sick of this life and want to settle down, just let me know. My hand on it, Captain. I promise you a position.
I'll keep that in mind, Mr. Matthias. I'll keep that in mind. We put the low coastline of French Indochina on our stern and started to trap the breeze that pushed its jungle smells to us.
To make sail!
There was a long leg ahead of us to Port Moresby, and the crewmen, looking forward to the even flow of sea life, snapped to their stations at Red Command.
Port Chief! Make sail!
Uncurled in the morning sun, shook itself restlessly, and went taut as it bent into the wind. The jib snapped out. The mizzen swung into place. The lee rail settled down toward the churning water. And the Scarlet Queen took the bone in her teeth and fought the swells that rose up before her.
She's a great ship, Skipper. She likes her work.
Yeah, she'll do for me.
Well, what are you going to do with her in Nevada, Skipper? I hear they got a desert there.
Oh, well, that's when I get sick of this life, remember?
I don't know, Skipper. He's probably got a good, soft desk job for you and a wealthy daughter for you to marry.
Well, is that bad? Then I could subscribe to Yachting Magazine.
No yachts in Nevada. But you could do your traveling in a deck chair on one of those big ocean liners.
Oh, stop it, Red. You're making me seasick. Well, but he did hit one vital spot.
Yeah?
The bottle he gave us. Better try it, huh?
Yeah. He's got a heart. And a sadder but wiser son. But we got a ship. Here, Skipper. To the Queen.
To the Scarlet Queen. After you, mate. After you. Log entry. The Ketch Scarlet Queen. 5:30 p.m. Wind brisk. Sky fair. Mainsail and mizzen reefed. Ship secure for night. Signed, Philip Carney. Master.
Mutual invites you to sail into further adventure on the Voyage of the Scarlet Queen next week at the same time. Port o' call, Rabaul, New Britain. The Voyage of the Scarlet Queen stars Elliott Lewis as Phil Carney with Ed Max as Gallagher. And tonight featured Gloria Blondell as the Princess with John Daner and Ben Wright. Music scored and conducted by Richard Arant. The Scarlet Queen, produced by James Burton, is written by Gil Dowd and Bob Tallman. The school system of our country is in the midst of a very real and very dangerous crisis. There are 2 million children of school age who should be in school, but are unable to attend because of the lack of facilities. Look into the school conditions in your own hometown. They may need your aid. This program came to you from Hollywood. Stay tuned now for another mutual favorite, Quiet Please, which follows in just a moment. Broadcasting System. Log entry, the Ketch Scarlet Queen, Philip Carney, master. Position, 4 degrees, 5 minutes south, 150 degrees, 26 minutes east. Wind fresh, sky fair. Remarks, departed Rabaul, New Britain Island at dawn with 1 crewman in sickbay due to trouble on ship. Reason for trouble, the wandering master and the Warlord at rest. It was a burnished, hot morning when we slipped through St. George's Channel, Blanche Bay. It had been a long leg and a slow one, down into Simpson Harbor from French Indochina. But now things speeded up.
In a day, we had our cargo unloaded into the China traders' warehouses, and on the next day, another cargo was swinging aboard, bound for a plantation on Hull Island in the Phoenix Group. At noon that day, Gallagher and I leaned on the rail, watching the whole town of Rabaul gather at our pier to welcome the tubby little steamer up from Canberra by way of Port Moresby. The crowd didn't mean that anyone of importance was arriving. The ship itself, a link with the outside world, was enough to bring out the natives with their green, blue, even yellow-dyed hair. The Orientals from Rabaul's Chinatown. The portly German planters. Enough even to bring Rabaul's never-small crowd of ne'er-do-wells stumbling out of the bars and into the hot sunlight. The excitement was contagious. Red and I moved forward to watch the steamer warp her rusty stern into the dock, squeezing in just off our bowsprit, shaking the Queen in her backwash, drawing the crowd to a point as her gangway went out and her passengers started to disembark.
That old hunk of barnacle and rust really brings out the town, don't it, Skipper? We didn't get a show like that.
Yeah, but neither does the Lurleen in San Francisco.
That's right.
But don't worry, Red, the Queen's prettier. Anybody can see that.
Probably leave that beat-up tub in our wake, too, with it. Skipper,
huh?
On the gangway.
Red. No, it can't be.
Yeah. There's that Texan Mangan trailing along the stern.
That's our sin.
Yeah. All the way to Rabaul to cross courses with us.
He turned his be-robed, jasmine-scented bulk toward us, and we got a better look at that 300-pound profile. Our sin had meant trouble in Tien Sin, trouble in Bali. I hoped he wouldn't mean trouble here. His mincing steps brought him closer. He flirted his handkerchief at us.
Ahoy! The Scarlet Queen?
Ahoy!
Most pleasant coincidence, sir. Most pleasant indeed. I would appreciate two of your crewmen to help me aboard.
And so Mutual continues The Voyage of the Scarlet Queen, written by Gil Dowd and Bob Tallman, and starring Elliott Lewis. The Scarlet Queen, proudest ship to plow the seas, bound for uncharted adventure. Every week a complete entry in the log, and every week a league further in The Voyage of the Scarlet Queen.
Bring me a chair, Mr. Mangan. You must see that I'm utterly exhausted squeezing under this cabin.
All right, now, don't fret, old Slim. I'll get you a chair. Uh-oh, this your chair's bolted down. You're going to have to walk to it.
A most thoughtless arrangement. A cabin of niggardly proportions.
The babyish face glistened with perspiration.
This is really quite
The scent of jasmine filled the cabin. The handkerchief waved. The beady eyes snapped out from the folds of flesh. And his bulk finally settled into a chair. He still looked Chinese, and he still sounded like Charles Lawton.
Now, gentlemen, I must say I am greatly pleased at the twist of fate that has once more brought us together.
Yeah, I said it.
I said, in fact, to Mr. Mangan as we rounded Vulcan Island, there is a familiar craft. Did I not, Mr. Mangan?
Oh, you sure did. He spotted you right now. Say, Corny, you ain't got a little old jug hid away somewhere, have you? My throat is drier and trailed up.
Yeah, sure, man. Red, you want to break out a bottle? We'll have a round or two.
Yeah, I could use one myself.
Well, now, Captain Carney, if I might inquire, what brought you to Rabaul?
Oh, we're carrying cargo now for the China traders.
Yeah?
Taking one out of here, bound for the Phoenix Group. How about you? You have interests here?
My dear boy, I have interests everywhere, but not at this particular moment. We are here for a rest, are we not, Mr. Mangan?
Oh, you bet you. Like we say down in Texas, we're money rich and liquor poor and loaded for bear.
Picturesquely put, Mr. Mangan. As a matter of fact, sir, Mr. Mangan and I were seated in Singapore, faced with the tedium of here transaction, there transaction, everywhere transaction. We decided to get away from it all, and I remembered I had a small interest in the splendid hotel in Rabaul. And, dear me, here we are. Are we not, Mr. Mangan?
Yeah, just Johnny on the spot.
Here's the proof.
Thanks, Red.
Oh, thank you, Redhead.
Well, here, gentlemen, to the fate has seen us to our juxtaposition.
Good bottle, Red.
Now, I must insist that you join us in an hour at the hotel. It's on Casuarina Avenue, right at the corner of Chinatown.
Yeah? The last 2 times we were mixed up with you, Stinky, we had something you wanted.
Now, just a minute, Cap. I ain't going to stand here straddle-legged and let you talk that way about all things.
Thank you, Mr. Mangan. Captain Carney, I had thought that our association deserved better than this. You will admit that we've always parted friends.
Yeah. Well, all right, Arsene. We'll see you at the hotel in an hour.
Oh, splendid, sir, splendid. We shall have a merry time.
Oh, look at this. Did he say he owned this place? Oh, there he is.
Well, howdy, y'all.
Oh, Mangan.
Boss Ben wants you to come on back here where he's at. Come on, it's on the main floor. Oh, and listen. He has found the cutest little old southern gal that you ever saw.
Southern what?
I mean real south. Shreveport, Louisiana.
What's she doing down here, Mangan?
Oh, she's a painter. Allspen's buying some of her paintings. I don't think they're very much, but she's doing it for money, and Allspen, well, he's kind of that way now. Hunt through here.
Yeah.
She ain't much for thinking, neither. But is she pretty? Miriam Lou Parmalee. Oh, don't that put you in mind them Louisiana pines?
Not yet. I haven't seen it.
Well, you're just a cold-blooded Yankee. That's how it comes. All right, here's the room. All right, here they are, Allspen.
Oh, splendid. Splendid, splendid. You find me surrounded by pleasant things, gentlemen.
So I see.
How do you do it, Arsene?
Indeed, at times I ask myself. This gentleman is Miss Miriam Lou Parmalee.
Oh, how do you do, Miss Hello?
How do you do, both of you?
Miss Parmalee is an artist of not inconsiderable ability.
Oh, thanks.
See her, Captain, this painting of the natives squatting sullenly in the bush. Is it not a stirring scene, sir?
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
She calls it Warlord at Rest. She refused to sell it to me.
Land's sake, you know he is just the stubbornest man I ever met. It's sold. I kept telling him that. I can't sell it again. It's already sold.
You see, she is determined to resist me.
Well, you're facing an honest woman, Arsene. That's your trouble.
Yes, the most puzzling attribute. Very well, I will try to satisfy myself with my second and third choices.
Well, I'm sure you'll be real happy with him, and thank you ever so much.
Oh, yes, of course. The matter is closed. Now then, I have arranged for a table in the hotel dining room spread for our pleasure with food and drink. I will carry my purchases to my room and join you. Miss Parmalee, I trust that you will accept my meager hospitality.
Oh, goodness. I don't know if I ought to with all 4 of you men. I don't know y'all very well, you know.
Oh, now, honey, me and you ain't strangers. Shuckins, we from Dixie.
And I pledge to you, my dear, I shall be your chaperone.
Oh, well, all right.
Now, go along now, all of you. I will join you presently.
Hey, this is quite a layout, Skipper.
That looks all right, mate.
Hey.
Goodness, you know, I didn't realize I was so hungry till I saw all this food.
The table in the dining room was set to everyone's taste, loaded with the best the hotel had to offer. Arsene joined us in about 20 minutes.
Oh, there you are, Mr. Arsene. Where you been? Everything is just a tasty.
Ladies and gentlemen, in an effort to provide the crowning touch, I personally went to the cellar to obtain this magnum.
Magnum?
Mum's very old Cordon Rouge. Now, let us all enjoy this festive occasion.
Oh, it's bubbly. That makes me dizzy.
In spite of the fact that Arsene had usually meant trouble, we did have a festive dinner. But after an hour or so, I excused myself. Went to the China trader's office to go over some final details on the cargo. It was another hour before I was finished and headed back to the ship. Night was falling when I got there, so I checked and saw the cargo gear was secured for sea, hatches covered, everything okay. Then I went into my cabin. My gangway watch, Nielsen, was backed up against the forward bulkhead. 2 men had guns trained on him. 2 more put the same drop on me. What the devil is this?
Sit down.
I can hear you standing up. I said, what is this?
It could be harmless if you cooperate. I am Carl von Stolz.
I'm glad to hear it. Now that we've met, take your helpers and get off this ship.
Don't pretend ignorance, Captain Carney. Your crewman already told me that the Chinese Arsene has been here on this ship. That is enough.
I don't know what you're talking about. What is this, Nielsen?
They don't know, sir. That fat Chinese came down with a package a little while ago. He said you were taking it for him. I thought it was all right to let him aboard. He'd been here before.
Yeah, all right, Nielsen.
Well, now you will stop the show of ignorance, Captain, and tell me where is the picture hidden.
I'll make sense, will you? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know about any picture.
I thought you would be reasonable. Martin, put him in that chair. All right, sit down.
Come on. All right, lay off, will you?
Martin, I'll watch him.
You and Emil search the cabinet. We'll search it all right. I hope for your sake, my Dave Carney, that they come find that painting.
I don't care how far you came looking for it. You're talking to the wrong guy.
If we got here a day later, you would be gone. Then you would be the right guy. That Sin is a blundering
Well,
fool.
go take it up with him, then.
Look here, Herr Von Stott. The painting. It was under the mattress on the bunk.
Why, that dirty
Good.
fat.
Let me see. The Warlord at rest. It is the one. Good. Now we have met success. Martin, the crewman, so I won't follow.
He won't
follow.
Hey, stay away from that man.
Sit down.
I'm telling you, you don't knock my crewman around.
Martin! Here. Hold him, Emil. I'll put him down.
Come on, Skipper. Try and get this slug down. Come on.
Yeah, go away.
Come on, drink it. You all right, Skipper?
Yeah. Where's Nielsen?
He's still out, but I'll get to him.
Where's that Sin?
I don't know. He left the party just a little while before I did.
Yeah.
Who slugged you?
Guy by the name of Von Stott. Give me a hand, Red. I want to get up.
Yeah. Who's behind it? Sin?
I guess so. What did they do with that bulkhead? That crummy Warlord painting he was drooling over, he must have swiped it from the dame's room. Then he planted it here in the cabin, and Von Stott showed up with 3 gunmen looking for it.
What? That stale picture? That mess? What are they, weak in the head? It's not worth $5, much less this, is it?
I don't know, but I'm just about ready to go back to that hotel and find out. Which room is Sin's, do you know?
Yeah, it's 21, right at the top of the stairs.
All right. You stay here, will you, Red? Right. Pull Nielsen out of it and see that he stays in the sack for the rest of the night.
Okay.
I'm going to see what I can do to pay Stinky for this knot behind my ear.
And I ain't paid no attention to some of them things, Arsene, but that poor little helpless gal, that is different. If you... Carney, what in thunder you want?
I want to see Fatso.
You make a most opportune entrance, sir. You find me in serious circumstances.
Well, you can say that again.
And once more for me.
Captain, I beg of you, prevail upon Mr. Mangan. He is using me badly, sir. I am in dire need of your help.
Help? You want help from me?
Oh, my dear fellow, is that such a strange request?
You darn right it is, Arsene. Anybody that puts a poor, helpless little gal on a chopping block like you done, Miriam, don't deserve nothing but a fast kick in a pistol pocket.
Oh, dear me, Mr. Mangan. I had never expected threats like that from you.
And anybody that makes a pigeon out of a guy after pumping a lot of bilge about sincere friendship rates the same thing. From here to the harbor.
Oh, good heavens, sir. Do you mean you've been placed in the position of a pigeon?
Yes, exactly. Here, this knot behind my ear. See it? Oh. One of my crewmen's got one just like it. We got them from a guy named Von Stott, who came down after that painting you planted on my ship.
He made off with the Warlord address?
Yes, he made off with it. And the only reason he didn't get it as a gift was because I didn't know where it was.
There, you see, Arsene, you stirred up a fine kettle of fish.
Yes, I must admit, I seem to have managed things very badly.
Well, that is just for sure. Poor little Miriam disappeared. Now the painting's gone. It serves you right for taking it off of her instead of being man enough to get it off that Von Stott.
Indeed, I have erred most seriously. Gentlemen, we must regroup.
Regroup? I'm going to do it someplace where you aren't.
Yeah, darn if that don't sound like a good idea.
Well,
Captain and Mr. Mangan, my dear fellow.
What?
The situation does not affect the proximity of the painting, nor does it decrease its fabulous value one whit.
Fabulous? Why don't
we
you
must
stop
at once
that?
forget these slight differences which have risen between us and set out post-haste to gain possession of it.
I'm sure you're kidding, but in case you aren't, forget me.
Well, perhaps if you understood, sir.
Understood what?
The canvas is in reality an original painted in 1590 by the fabulous Venetian Giacomo Robusti.
So?
It was wrested from one of Europe's most famous museums during the last great conflict by the armed forces of our common enemy, sir. It was recently stolen from its South American hiding place, brought here, and its identity hidden behind that gruesome daub, the Warlord at rest, which was smeared over it.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make me any more interested. It sounds like international law to me, and I had enough even on the outskirts.
Well, indeed, sir, you surprise me. I took you for a man of spirit.
Oh, don't listen at him, Carney.
Thanks, Mangan, I won't. I just want to
Go back into that room, Captain, if you like this gun the way it is. Don't move, any of you. Move back, Captain.
All right, Von Stott. My company wasn't any better before you dropped.
Over there with the others.
Well, I must say, Von Stott, that your arrival is in the way of a surprise.
I have come for the painting. And I want no delay.
Oh, what old painting? This heat's got you loco.
Why don't you make up your mind, Punch Toad?
I said I want no delay. Captain, due to the possibility that the painting is still hidden on your ship, my men have taken command.
What?
You won't board it until I say so.
Hey, now look.
But, my dear man, I had supposed since you so forcefully grasped control of the situation that you did have the painting.
I want no talk. The Warlord at rest is a fake, and you know it. I removed some of the paint and found bare canvas beneath.
A stunning surprise, sir. Is it possible that the journey for both of us has been a wild goose chase? A most disquieting thought, is it not?
It is not my thought. I have you in another one of your clumsy attempts at deception. I have it from the girl herself. You had her painting copied. Then you led me to the ship. You thought I would take the fake and leave the island without examining it.
Oh, dear me, what a brilliant plan. But, of course, sir, that it was not the case. The girl lies.
She would not lie with the methods I used to get the truth from her.
Why, that for me.
Take it easy, Mangan.
Watch me, Corny. We're going to take that polecat.
You there. What was that? What did you say?
I was just telling my partner.
Don't move or I shoot.
I was just saying what I got a right to say about any yellowhound dog that manhandles a woman.
Never mind the talk.
My papa would turn over in his grave if he thought any son of his didn't stake his face there.
I thought it was Texas temper and a soft spot in his heart for the Southern belle. Until he moved in front of me. Then, when Von Stode ordered him to a halt, he stepped back toward me until his heels almost touched my toes. He stood with his hands on his hips as he talked. Then I saw why. He inched the back of his coat up with his fingers so I could see the pearl handle of the Frontier model coat he wore in his hip pocket.
What did you do to that little old
I took it
gal
out,
from Louisiana?
slipped it behind me,
Well, you just do something to her, you dead.
and when Mangan stopped talking, I moved up and started in so he could get the coat out of my hands. It only took a few words. I'm sick enough of this to tell you where that painting is, Von Stoltz.
You aren't stupid like the others.
But I ain't through yet.
Von Stoltz's right shoulder jerked, then his left. Mangan had put both arms out of operation in the space of time between two heartbeats. Von Stoltz staggered back, hit the wall, and slid down into a sitting position.
Splendid, Mr. Mangan. And you, Captain, a thrilling moment, sir.
I'm glad we're entertaining you.
Well, don't you go thinking I done this to help you get that blasted painting off in, because I didn't do it for that reason. He's got that poor little gal hid out, and I aim to find her. First, I got to squeeze where she's at out of this polecat before he passes out. All right there, Monster. All right now. You coming right on in this other room with me, and you're going to tell me where you got that little gal hid at, and right now.
Captain, with the admission that I've been a dismal failure, I ask one more thing.
Now what?
I beg of you, go with Mr. Mangan. Save him from himself. Realize that suddenly, sir, he has become a blindly infatuated fool. The barbs of Cupid, sir, that treacherous little imp, have bitten deep. You will go, sir?
Yeah, I'll go. For one good reason, I'm going to need Mangan to help me clear my ship of Von Stoltz's gunmen. And don't think I'm forgetting that you got me into this.
Oh, indeed I shall not, sir. I fear the painful thought of it will bear me company for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Unless you just happen to fall into that painting.
Oh, yes. I am quick to admit, as must we all, that final success is a miraculous anesthetic.
Mangan and I left Von Stoltz trussed up in our sin suite and went to find Miriam Lou Parmalee. She was staked out in a room on the second floor of the European Hotel. She was gagged and lashed to the head and foot of an iron bed. Her face was bruised from open-hand slaps. Her arms from hands that had twisted them.
My kin would
But her
just
spirit was
die if
undamaged.
they knew that well, I didn't think there was nobody so dreadful outside of the storybooks. I was so mad I could have spit. I think I did.
Well, everything is all right now, honey.
Sure it is, Miriam Lou. Just calm down.
Well,
and
if I'd had an inkling, just one little old inkling of the kind of men that I was going to meet out here, I'd never have come. I tell you that I never would have come.
Sure
they
you would.
lied to me, every last one of them.
Well, whoa now, Sugar. You're too pretty to go throwing a tizzy like that.
How was I going to know? A girl would just be silly not to come out here to paint with all the expenses paid just to do a tiny bit of cheating like they wanted.
Yeah.
But if I'd have known about those men, I wouldn't have come. No, I swear I wouldn't have come. Why, he hit me. He hit me and he slapped my face and he twisted my arm until I was just so mad. I was so mad I couldn't tell him what he wanted to know.
Well, don't you fret no more now, Sugar.
I will so. I'm just seething inside.
Miriam Lou,
I am. I'm just...
what did you do to make them so mad?
Why, nothing. Why, not one single thing. Well, I tell you that I just decided that if that old picture was worth so much money and they was making me do all the work, well, I just as much right to it as they did. I did. So I just packed it up. and I sent it on home to Shreveport. What's the matter?
Why, nothing, honey. Not a solitary thing is the matter.
Well, after what I've been through, now don't you think I deserve it?
Why, absolutely, Miriam Lou.
You know, you keep looking at me so funny, Mr. Lane.
Oh, that's just my heart looking at you, baby. You got me looping, darn it. You're so pretty.
Oh, now, Mr. Lane, shut up. He's joshing with me, isn't he?
Why, Miriam, you've read enough storybooks to know a slave when you see one, haven't you?
He's a slave?
No, sure. Well, you're the kind of a lady that brings honor and glory to the South, honey.
Thank you.
From sheer natural beauty and nothing else.
You know, you could just lead me around with those pretty words like that, Mr. Mangan. I just know you could.
Well, I'm going to start in right now.
Mangan.
Oh, yeah. I got a little job to do with the captain first.
Yes, thank you.
I'm going to take you to your hotel, and you stay in your room till I come back. And then we're going to talk this thing over.
Oh, but I've told you everything honest crossed my heart and set me to spin, and I've told you every little thing. There's nothing more to say.
Well, don't you fret none about that. We'll find something. I'm darn sure of that.
With the key to the situation a few thousand miles away from the action, the payoff was simpler than I'd expected earlier. Von Stodt fainted a couple of times on the way to the Queen, as much from disappointment at finding no old master under any of Miriam's paint as from the pain in his arms. But Mangan's cold kept him on his feet, and later kept him covered while Red and Nielsen and I paid back von Stodt's helpers for the lumps on our heads. Then Mangan escorted them all off the ship. But we had one more visitor later that night. I was on deck, listening to the gramophone that's inevitable in ports of Chinese citizenry, and a soft breeze carried his jasmine scent before him. I saved him the climb up the gangway by crossing it to meet him on the dock.
Captain Carney, there is great sadness in me.
Lost your face again, Arsene?
Please, Captain, I am a successful merchant, sir, and it is most unfair that a man of my stature in the world of business should be treated as shabbily as I've been today.
Oh, come on, Arsene. Everybody knows it wasn't your fault. I think you put up a pretty game fight.
Uh-huh.
Even if Nielsen and I were the ones that got hit.
Well, I'm glad to hear you mention my valiant fight, sir, for it brings me to the subject I would like to discuss with you.
No? What's that?
Well, the fact is, sir, that my valiant battle, my never-ending effort to succeed is, at this moment, the one bright spot in my life.
Oh?
I am determined, therefore, to keep it alive. Captain, I would pay you handsomely for passage to Shreveport, Louisiana, so that I might continue my attempts to gain possession of that fabulous painting, sir, and thereby regain my face and reputation.
Can't be done, Arsene.
You refuse me, sir? You withdraw the hand that could help me?
Yeah, I have to. Shreveport isn't a seaport.
Very well, then. Since both you and the misnamed city are so uncooperative, sir, I shall endeavor to find other means of conveyance. But mark my words, Captain. I am at this moment en route to Shreveport. Good evening, sir.
By dawn that morning, we were en route to the Phoenix Group, picking our way out through Blanche Bay, past Vulcan Island, and into the wind that swept around New Britain. The crewmen jumped to their stations, flexing fingers still stiff from sleep, throwing glances back at the island looming on our stern. Strong bodies leaned on the halyards. The whiteness of the mainsail slid smoothly up into the dawn sky. The jibs rattled up. Then the mizzen swung out, and the Scarlet Queen swung a curved wake as I turned her. And her bowsprit and the figurehead beneath bowed to the crescent of sun that was climbing out of the ocean horizon.
That's a great morning, Skipper.
Yeah, I guess we'll keep it, Red.
It was a wonderful port. Lots of interested people.
The best the Orient, Texas, and Shreveport have to offer. Wish I could make up my mind whether Miriam was stupid and honest or smart and crooked.
Well, she's the only one who made a profit. That sounds smart to me.
But the way she made it doesn't. And anybody who'd paint pictures like that warlord at rest.
Yeah. What a dame.
Yeah, Mangan can have it, huh? I'll settle for ours.
I'm kind of stuck on it myself. Here, Skipper. To the Queen?
To the Scarlet Queen. After you, mate. After you. Log entry. The Ketch Scarlet Queen, 5:30 p.m. Wind, fresh to moderate. Sky overcast. Sea cresting with high cross swell. Mainsail and mizzen reefed. Ship secure for night. Signed, Philip Carney, Master.
The Voyage of the Scarlet Queen has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.